Sláinte, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm pouring my first whiskey here so I can cheers all of you. Starting with the original OG 2 stacks dram in a can. I'm so excited. I know you guys are too. Let me know what you're drinking in chat if you're drinking a 2 stacks whiskey. If you're just having coffee, drinking a regular whiskey, a bourbon, make sure you hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe, do all that fun stuff that YouTube likes us to do. Let's see who we got in here. Marty Whiskey knows this is going to be great. Marty, I know you were really excited. Marty is a big 2 stacks fan. We have Tora Podal. Love Keeper's Heart myself, especially Irish bourbon cask strength. Oh, okay. That would the Toad one. I know you mean Natterjack. So you're a big cask strength whiskey fan as well. You're gonna enjoy our guest today. We have Mr. Mom 310. Cheers, Stacy. Cheers, Mr. Mom. I know I saw you in some of the streams last night. Cheers to Bourbon School. It is good to see you guys. Joe's Whiskey Den. Sláinte to you, Joe. It is good to see you. Oh, you had some 2 stacks last night. It was terrific. Brian, let me know which one you had. We have Anthony Bourbon Neophyte. Cheers, you bunch of magnificent Irish whiskey drinkers. After our stream tonight at 7:30 Eastern time, Bourbon Neophyte's going to be going live. I can't remember, Anthony, what you were doing. It wasn't the Scotch one was last week. Let me know what. Put the link to your stream tonight in chat. Cheers, not sipping Irish. I have a Dragon's Milk original finished in maple syrup barrels. That sounds freaking good. That sounds really good. Thank you, Anthony, for reminding everybody. Don't forget to smash that like button. Amy O'Byrne, it is good to see you. I know Amy has some 2 stacks and is a big 2 stacks fan. Just killed a 2 stacks Hawaii 6-0 for this little get together. Love that bottle. Yeah, that one's one of my favorites as well. That I've never had a whiskey. It tastes like a pina colada before. That one is awesome. Cheers, Cask 529. Cheers, everybody. It is good to see you. We have from the UK, James Morgan. Cheers. Good evening, all. Tater Dom. Cheers, Stacy and everybody. It is good to see you, Tater Dom. We have Sean Holtgrove. Sup, dudes? Just poured and I have no idea what that is. Is that Scotch? Sean, you'll have to let me know what that is. Anthony's got a big of Tom 215 in the glass. I think I've had that once. It's a good one. It's a good one. Teeling single grain in the glass at the moment. That is a good one as well. I've got that one on my shelf. Actually, I think that one hit the floor. I ran out of shelf space. Donald Rance, good evening, Donald. Hope you're staying warm up there in Canada. Yeah, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. I think I got everybody. Pulled out a blender's cut for reference. Good choice. And Zenbood. Cheers, Zenbood. All right. I'm going to introduce my guest. I am so excited about this one. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Ireland in September. Please help me welcome Shane McCarthy from 2 Stacks Irish Whiskey. Shane, how are you doing, Sláinte?
Sláinte, Stacey. Good to see you.
It's good to see you. There we go. That's a Scotch. I figured that was a Scotch.
Yeah,
Lowland Scotch.
I just seen all the guests come in and Saxon Irish
yeah,
whiskey.
Everybody was excited when I definitely heard a lot of excitement for you as my guest. There's a lot of 2 Stacks fans across the globe because I know we have a lot of Americans in here, but we've got some Canadians. We've got some people from the UK. Amy says hi, Shane.
Awesome. Yeah. No, the names. I'm loving your top shelf. You've got quite the range there.
Yeah, I actually have a couple that didn't fit on the shelf because I got to put another bracket up on the end because it's starting to droop.
Yeah, no,
I actually have floor whiskey now. I've got to get a floor box for the floor whiskey. It's getting a lot of hand. Nice. Cheers, Cool Running. There's a fellow Irishman. I think Cool Running's outside of Belfast.
Oh, nice.
Cheers to you.
Pretty far from
So I am starting with the original 2 Stacks dram in a can, the original green, the OG green.
Yes, indeed.
These are so good. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in chat. I'll try to get to your questions as well. One of the biggest questions I wanted to ask you, and it kind of as a two-parter, because one of the biggest questions I get asked about Two Stacks is, how did you first get started, and how in the world did you come up with whiskey in a can?
Very good. Yeah, no, we do get asked that quite a bit. And so, for anyone on the stream that doesn't know about Two Stacks and um, who we are, what we're about, the brand itself started in about 2020, peak COVID, and it was myself, Liam, and Donal. So there's three of us who are the co-founders. So for about 10 years now, we've been working in the Irish beverage space. And we were all about working with independent breweries and distilleries. Liam and I then were a big part of setting up Cologne Distillery, for anyone that's familiar with Cologne. So Brendan, myself, and Liam co-founded that distillery. And at the same time, we seen an opportunity to open up the independent bottling space. And we'd already been working with a lot of the distilleries, consolidating a lot of the best breweries and brands outside of Ireland. So we were creating global supply chains and sending some of these brands across the world. But in 2020, we were getting asked a lot for certain flavor profiles and styles and stuff that really wasn't in the market, but also whiskies that we love to drink. So we really started to put our heads together and work on the indie bottling space. So 2020 COVID, we had a lot of time in our hands, and our first iteration was actually the 5-part blend, which is the signature blend, exactly the same as what you have in the can there. But we brought that to market, and we brought it to market at Belfast Whiskey Festival. That was the official launch, 2020 Belfast Whiskey Festival, along with the Blender's Cut Cask Strength, which at the time I believe was the highest ABV cut. And for us, it was really about showcasing, full flavor straight from the cask, whiskey that we love drinking. And that's really where Two Stacks was born out of. Number one, our love of whiskey, but also, a chance for us to focus on the art of the blend and really, a white space that Irish whiskey was still, I think, for us in its infancy. There's a lot of new distilleries starting up. There were indie bottlers. New distilleries were somewhat indie bottlers because they were bottling and sending a lot of other distilleries whiskey out to market. So for us, we homed in that space. And then by 2021, 2022, we had our own bonded warehouse, and we started doing a lot more experimental stuff, such as cask age and maturation at the warehouse, blending of different distilleries. And I think the biggest piece was commissioning our own mash bills. So going into this distilleries, taking it over for the day and laying down heritage mash bills that maybe hadn't been seen since the 1800s. So that's probably the funnest part of what we do. But yeah, 2021, and then coming around to why whiskey in a can. So when we put the 5-part blend out to market, it maybe seems familiar with people now, but it was actually quite a complex blend when it came to market. The fact that it had peated malt, double still malt, single pot still, and single grain. So really the 4 corners of Irish whiskey. And we spent a lot of time with Brian Watts in this blend before we brought it out. And it was to showcase that Irish whiskey isn't just triple distilled and smooth. So this signature blend that still is our signature blend won a World Whiskey Award. And for us, it was kind of, as I said, the blank canvas and wondering how we get as much of this liquid on people's lips as possible. So the can wasn't anything about novelty or gimmick. It was really about how do you get liquid on lips. So it was, you got to bring the price point down. Number one, when people look at anything on shelf, it's all about price point. So it's about how do we get super premium whiskey, Irish whiskey, onto as many people's lips as possible. Bring the price point down. And then we looked at the history of the miniature bottle invented by Powers in the 1800s. And we realized that when that originally came out, it was about 71 mils. And it was all about people taking their favorite nip of Irish whiskey on cruises, on holidays. So we grew up out of the kind of craft beer boom as well, and we were used to kind of seeing fresh beverages in cans. So we kind of threw the idea of putting whiskey in a can, but the smallest can in Europe is actually 150 mils. There's a couple of 125 mils, and that was too much. That was just a little bit too much whiskey to give to someone as a single serve. And then we looked as far as Asia, and we found a manufacturer that was actually doing little mini cans at 100 mil. So we said, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's put the signature blend into a can and be one of the first, I believe, to put Irish whiskey into a can and put it out to market. So our importer in the USA at the time loved the idea. So we kind of needed someone to back us and be like, yeah, we'll take some, because there was huge MOQs on ordering cans and cans of whiskey. So I think we had like, maybe 50 or 75,000 cans, and for a brand new brand coming to market, it's a huge risk to have that amount of stock. And but I think we believed the liquid was so good, the concept was so good. We honed in a lot on transparency as well. So everything, the pillars that we wanted to bring to market, haven't changed since 10 years ago. It was all about transparency, giving consumers full transparency of what was in the bottles and cans, but also, where the liquid exactly comes from. So anything that we ever put out, it was about telling the consumer, that it is a Cologne or a Great Northern, or exactly where the whiskey comes out of. But even the signature blend, we give the full breakdown of the blend, the casks that are used, and the same in the little mini can. There isn't much space on it, but we try and squeeze in as much information onto the can. So I think that, in a nutshell, is really the how and why we decided to put Irish whiskey in a can. And from there, we've, I think over the last 3 years, you can see exactly the breakdown.
Yeah.
I think we've done well over 15 different cans. So we've done cast strength cans. We've really just tried to, even last year for the first time. Yeah,
you've done 20-year-old whiskey in a can. It's 22-year-old whiskey in a can. I was on a bourbon channel here a couple weeks ago, and I shared the friend at Irish Whiskey. Was it 19-20 year?
That was the 22-year-old. It's actually, yes.
Yeah, it's the 21. Yeah.
21.
So I shared that with them, and they're like, I can't believe there's 20-year whiskey in a can.
Yeah.
That just blew their mind.
Yeah, and like that one's a single cask Bushmills 22-year-old. And again, it comes back to, sometimes it might be a little bit out of reach. If people don't want to pay, I know that sits on shelf at around £300 a bottle. So, like a lot of the time when we do it, you're slashing it by 7, 100 mil, 700 mil. So hopefully it makes it more accessible. Want to try, because a lot of people want to try this great whiskey, and for us, it's like, you want people to be opening bottles and cans and trying it, enjoying it in good company. So that's why we do it. That's why we have a 22-year-old. We almost put a 32-year-old into a can. We played about the idea, but that was probably the main one I got shot down on. I was 18 and putting that in a can, but just not yet. Yeah, and again, the whole market of that kind of super rare, it's harder at the moment for people to hone in. I think a lot of the market is happy with the kind of sub 100 pound bottles, and that's where a lot of consumers are happy to pay for whiskey, where I think 3 years ago the 32-year-old in a can might have been a lot easier for people to accept. You'd be looking at about a £60 can or something crazy. So yeah.
Hey, Mark, Northwest Bourbon, thank you. Remind everybody to hit the link. Cool Running is also reminding us, yes, that you have Irish cream in a can as well. Yeah, James, big fan of the Irish cream in a can. Yeah, Donald says your cans are very popular. It's huge in Alberta.
Alberta, we've got some great guys up there. PWS Imports, they're absolute legends.
Yes.
They were one of the first to, like 2021. They were the first guys to start bringing in our stuff, bringing in the real interesting single casks and cans. So yeah, it's good to see.
No, Liz, there's no tinniness to it whatsoever. None.
Yeah, we
You
do get
don't
asked
taste the
that.
can.
People, and again, I suppose you compare it to the craft beer world. A lot of people prefer can over bottle. But yeah, there is a double coating on the inside, so you do
Mhm.
not get any. And again, I suppose I have the bottle and the can. And a lot of time at festivals, I'll pour them side by side and let people taste them just to show them that there's no difference. If anything, the can to us is a better vessel because there's no light exposure, there's less
Mhm.
oxidation
That's a
inside,
good point.
and
That's a
it
really
doesn't
good point.
break. If you're running, if you're bringing it on the go, you can guarantee you're not going to get smashed glass in your bag.
So Sean is asking, is it carbonated? No,
No, it's not
it's
either.
straight whiskey.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, Stacey, I won't say that we were but we were around the same time as the ready to drink boom, and that
Yeah,
has obviously exploded. So a lot of people
it's everywhere.
sometimes see it on shelf and yeah, they think that it's a ready to drink or it's a mix, but yeah, non-carbonated, just straight whiskey. And I suppose if people were to compare it, it's just like a miniature bottle of whiskey that you see and it has been around for a long time, but just in can form with a little bit more whiskey. Yeah.
So I can tell you, I rolled in to a bourbon whiskey tube meetup last year. Or it was 2 years ago in Kentucky. No, it was last year. And and I rolled in with a 4 pack of Dram in a can, and I did not roll out with any.
Yeah. Oh,
They
this
all
is
took them. I think there was one. I took a couple of them. I picked them up at Party Source in Kentucky on the way, and yeah, they were opened. They were drank. Everybody got the biggest kick out of it. They love the idea. So
it's
it's
still
very popular.
they're like, yeah, we sell hundreds of thousands of these every year, and even at Dublin Whiskey Festival, probably still the biggest Irish whiskey festival on the island. We get absolutely rated. We used to buy pyramids, and you give a little sample, and like by the third day or the end of the second day, you're like, what happened to the pyramid? Where did the cans go? It's like they just disappear. But it's good. It's just like, I suppose people see the novelty, but also it entices them to try it, and they're like, "Oh, shit, that's good."
Yeah.
And that's what the whole idea was all about. It was how do you get people to try more Irish whiskey that isn't just triple distilled.
Well, and it gets attention. Like I said, I walked into a bourbon event with this, and it gets attention. They want to know what it is. They want to try it.
Yeah, like I think you've got the single malt there as well. Again, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful sherry finished with double distilled whiskey in it. So yeah, I've got one of them here as
This
well.
is wonderful. In coffee, I'd make Irish coffee with this one.
Oh, really? Yeah, with the
It's really
10%
good.
peat, there's a nice little soft peat kick in there. So I think if people are really against peat, there's 2% in the signature,
Yeah.
and it's just very light and delicate. But when you move on to the single malt, you're definitely getting a nice punch of peat in there to kind of further on the journey for people that maybe are new to peated Irish whiskey.
So how did you come up with the blend? Because this is not a typical Irish whiskey combination. You don't typically see 5 different components in a blend.
Yeah, right.
How did you guys come up with? And this is the same blend you use for your finishings. How did you guys come up with this?
Yeah, it's the same blend as our blender's cut. And for us, we spent a long time, and God rest him, Brian Watts was one of the legends of. He was the main master blender at Great Northern. So Great Northern would have been in I suppose they would have been about 4 or 5 years old. So a lot of their whiskey was just coming to maturation. So when we went to the lab, and Great Northern's maybe 15 minutes from us.
I was just going to say, just down the road a spell.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time with Brian, kind of pushing him a bit because he had a lot of new brands, asking for, I want just a triple distilled Irish whiskey, or I want a single malt, etc. But we went in and started blending up a lot of different ways and styles. But I suppose the original brief was, how do we bring a beautiful blend that has all components and all distillates, but doesn't overpower, scare away the consumer. So yeah, we call it the 5-4-3-2-1. So it's a 5-part blend, 4 different distillates, 3 different cask types, and then 2 grape mix, which is cask strength and signature, and 1 great taste.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, it's it's suppose a bit more complex, but again, I think you're seeing more and more, and hopefully it has pushed the Irish whiskey market a little more to be experimental with their blending. But yeah, you do see a bit more out there, and especially like we love peat, and I know not everyone does, but you will notice a lot of two stacks is definitely got a bit of peat in, and I just love what it can do for blending, and it gives a lot of length, a lot of finish. But you can do it in delicate ways. So this is probably the perfect example of layering in some peated distillate without overpowering the whiskey.
Well, and it's at 2%, honestly, cigar smokers. I pull this out frequently when my husband is having a cigar, because it really kind of brings out the cigar. I think it does pair well, but it's not overpowering the whiskey. I mean, a non-peated Irish whiskey fan could still really enjoy this.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'm just coming back to now. Actually, a lot of whiskeys, even the signature, we'll be doing a lot of cask sampling every couple of weeks, but I probably haven't drank this in weeks, and I'm getting a lot of fruity esters. I think when you come back to it, especially if anyone has the blender's cut in their glass, you get the peat a lot more up front. Obviously, this one's dialed down to 43%, but with the blender's cut, you do get the peat a lot more in the palate at straight cask strength. But I'm getting a lot of the pot still, and the double still come through. But I suppose even when the blender's cut, then that was this 65.5% ABV. And, when we looked at it, we all said to each other, oh, that's going to scare the hell out of people when it. But, it would have been sacrilegious to bloody not put this to market. It's so big and oily and viscous. And so we just went for it, and we sent it out to market. People lapped it up. And, it's like if we were just to give people the signature blend, they would never get to taste what the original, blend tasted like. And for us, give it to the customer and let them dial it back. With water, they might take it down to 55% to 50%. But there's many an evening where I've spent with blenders cut and just got so much from it. You just cut through the different ABVs. You're getting different elements of all the different distillates, all the different cask types. So that's a big part of this signature blend and what you get from it. And for anyone that's looking at it, I would push them towards the blender's cut to start with, because they can dial it down to the 43% or 40%, but at least you get to start from the original ABV and that big kind of oily. But I would say you do get a bit more peat on the blenders as well.
I have convinced more bourbon drinkers to buy a bottle of Irish whiskey with that cask strength bottle.
Yeah, I think maybe in the US market they're a lot more used to cask strength.
Oh yeah, they're used to some high ABVs, and they have not. We haven't traditionally had that. And you guys came on the scene with cask strength Irish whiskey. Here you go. And I've gotten more people to go and try it by buying that bottle.
Yeah,
it's been very popular.
It's really popular in the US for us. It's as I say, when it come on the scene, though, you kind of it's more, it feels like it's been around a long time, but you forget that a lot of this stuff hasn't been to market, or there is a lot of stuff that even doesn't make it over across the United States. So it's great that it's been accepted so well and received so well.
We got a few more people in here. So Shane, you decide what we are going to be drinking next. We have David Cummins. Hey, David, how are you doing? I see JD in here. Hey, JD. So JD's got a lot of Irish whiskey. Mark Evanecker. Cheers. Mark, how you doing? Oh, we got this nerd, the Bourbon Wrench. Good evening, nerds. Cheers, Trev. I've sent Trev some Irish whiskey. Trev's out there in Arkansas in no man's land, where they do not have a whole lot of Irish whiskey. But
right,
Trev, we're gonna have to get together again. I'll have to send you some more.
Cheers. All right. So this again, Stacey, you might when we first launched in 2021, the signature blend, the new bottles have literally just come to the United States as
Mm-hmm.
well. So what's in a can, the new embossed bottles have all just started to
Yeah.
trickle out. Yeah, you've got them there.
Yeah, I've
So
got one of them. This is what they're gorgeous bottles. They are
yeah,
absolutely gorgeous.
so yeah, hopefully people when they see it on shelf will see all the new bottles. They've literally just started trickling out from December, November, December. And again, yeah, we spent a lot of time just kind of elevating the look and feel of the bottle. As much as we do love the cans, the bottles do get a lot of attention as well. So what will we move on with? Well, I suppose talking about the blender, Scott, I think that's a good conversation to move on to the apricot brandy.
Oh yeah, we can do that. We're gonna try this. So out of the original finishes, this was my absolute favorite, and I bought like several of these. So this is Two Stacks Apricot Brandy Cask Finish. It is gorgeous color.
Oh wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I sent Trev, but I can tell you it was Two Stacks was in there. I think I sent him either the cherry brandy or the apple brandy.
You get like you could sit and nose it all day. It's yeah. Between that and even the apple brandy and the fruit brandies. Yeah, Dave's on the money
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
this is
Darren up the Two Stacks Nation, definitely.
yeah, I love it. Slant you, Dave and Darn. The apricot brandy was the first probably maturation finish that we put out to market, and it was done at Cologne Distillery. We were setting up our bond at the time, and Cologne had their side shed bond, so we had sent in a couple of really funky experimental casks. So the original apricot brandy was actually come out of Cologne for Belfast Whiskey Festival, and now we've went into all kinds of fruit brandies over the last few years, but this is the first one. And again, I think it blew people away. It just absolutely blew them away with the taste and flavor profile. You know,
well, I had not seen an Irish whiskey finished in an apricot brandy cask before.
No, like stone fruits, it is something the Irish whiskey industry can only really do within our technical specifications. Scotch technically aren't allowed to age in these style or type of casks. So fruit brandies, apricot, I just get starting off from the distillate, this is the blender's cut. So it's the signature blended cask strength. It goes straight into single casks. So we get fresh fruit brandy casks from California. We ship them back to our bond and then we age them. First fill, we'll age probably from 5 to 6 months. Second fill, we'll age for over a year. And this one has went into, I'm not sure which bottling you have, if you have batch 1, batch 2, but this one I think is first fill that I've had. You can definitely get a lot of fresh peaches and apricots. It might not say bottle.
I don't think it says on the bottle on this one actually.
Yeah, because
this one is this is Folsom, pretty sure.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, that would have been first fill casks. Yeah.
Okay. Dave says he thinks the next one or soon after was the Tawny Port cask.
Yeah, Tawny Port and Sauternes.
Yes,
it's for tonight's tasting. I went up to my own whiskey library, which is a little whiskey room. It's like kind of your back shelf and floor the attic and everything. And
this is just the Irish area. The bourbon and scotch is in my old area in the basement. I can't fit it all anymore.
Oh, it's crazy.
You go to Ireland and you buy a whole lot of whiskey.
But yeah, Dave's right. We at the same time we were aging Tawny Port and we done a
Barbados rum and
Barbados rum. So
that was so good too.
For first maturation and iterations. But I feel that the brand has evolved a lot over the last 3-4 years. Since we first did this, so it's really nice to come back to these releases. And again. Don't be afraid to add some water to this. It is a punchy one. For anyone that has a cask strength in front of them.
This is 63.2% ABV, so 126 proof.
Yeah, that's it. And it dials down about 1 ABV on the maturation with the fruit brandy cask. It goes in at about 64 and a half. And again, like that original blender's cut, because Great Northern have matured as well over the years. When we get it, the ABV is slightly different each time on the blender's cut. So it's come down over the years. It's no longer 65.5. I think it's around 64.6 or 64.7. But yeah, this is a full-on proper cask strength. But the dangerous side of it, I feel, is
it's lovely.
Yeah, it doesn't drink like a 60.
No, it does not at all. So my friend Ben here at Whiskey Uncensored, he's actually been to my house. He has gone through a lot of two stacks when he was here. He has a question. He has, when is cask strength coming out in a can? He said, would that ever be something you would do?
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this one up tonight, and it's kind of, let's say it's maybe the first time we're going to announce this, but the last 12 months, because these have been such a huge success, we've done apple brandy, cherry brandy, the raspberry brandy with Two Stacks Nation.
That cherry brandy is so good. That's my favorite still.
Blew people away. So yeah, Stacey, we kind of looked at the drawing board again. We said, well, how do we just give this as, a lot of the time we do it, it's like an exclusive for Waterford Revolution or for Two Stacks Nation, and boom, disappears. So we laid down quite a bit of it in January, February last year, and we've done a whole reiteration. So our first big release this year is going to be a new concept. Not new, it's going to lean in, but somewhat new, and it's going to be called Fruit Drops. So it's going to be iteration of cask strength finishes, but it's going to be in can and bottle. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So that was a great question. So, and
we're going to good question, man.
We're going to probably dial the ABV down to like a standard, so they're all around maybe 55%. But we found
that's still a good ABV.
Yeah,
that really is.
We find like some people got a little bit scared when they see ABV, especially in the domestic market, the kind of cask strength. Yeah, and next we'll do 500 ml cans. Yeah, but it's true.
Ben, I'm sure I will. You will find some at somebody's house. I will get you some.
But yeah, we found that when we just dialed the ABV down a bit, it actually opened up a lot of the profile more and more of the whiskey. If you go down maybe to the 40%, you lose a lot of the fruit brandy, just because there's a good element of single grain in there, Stacey. As you can imagine,
yeah,
you start to put a lot of water into that, you just lose what you're.
Yeah, it just gets too thin.
Yeah, exactly. So we brought it down slightly, and we're about to launch. It's going to be 3. I say core, but it will be quite limited in batch 1, and batch 2 will probably be summer, autumn time this year, where we'd have a good availability. Like if you went onto our website or tried to find a lot of this, you'll not be able to get yourself any apple brandy or. So we just want to make it more available, because we feel that it's a good entry level whiskey for people too that are new to whiskey. The kind of fruity flavor profile is very easy on the palate, and it's inviting on the nose as well. You get just a flavor profile that a lot of people maybe have never seen or tried or tasted in whiskey before. So this is
it's got a stunning nose, and you really don't get the 2% peat at all.
No,
not on the nose.
Not on the nose. On the palate,
you do just a little, but
I don't even get much of the booze, maybe because I drink too much cask. But it's big and oily.
Oh, it's so oily.
It's just even I've seen a couple of reviews on it, and you do get a lot of people kind of calling it a big meaty whiskey, is some of the terms used, and and that's just from.
It's viscous. It is really viscous. It's got a big mouthfeel to it. I get the apricot and then that pot still spice. I don't get
pot still spice. Yeah. I was going to say the pot still spice comes in really nice on the back, and I'm not getting too much of the peat. The kind of the fruit profile overtakes on the peat. But yeah, so inviting, and for us, we're really bloody excited to bring. Again, these are all in the old style bottles, so
Yeah.
the fruit drops will be in
Yeah.
these.
And these are still available if you're in a state where you can get alcohol shipped in. They're
Yeah,
available. I don't know if
they're
are they available at Two Stacks? They're available at Folsom Wine and Spirits.
Folsom. I believe there's one or two retailers are still sitting on some
Okay.
bottles. So
Yeah.
High Road Spirits, when they were importing, had
Mhm.
a nice batch taken in, but I believe there's a few cases still dotted around somewhere in the USA. We don't have any, I don't think. Maybe we've got some on our website, the apricot, but certainly not any of the cherry or
No, no. I
the
would know
brand.
if the cherry was there, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. I think we really want to just put them beautiful profiles out to market again, and open up kind of what Irish whiskey can be. Like, I hope we're opening people's kind of mindset and boundaries into the flavor profiles that are within the industry. And, it's not all this one or two dimensional, this is what to expect.
So Liz B and JD both have a question. So Liz says, what's your new release going to be finished in? And JD suggests plum brandy.
We haven't done plum. I know the Bushmills, I think, have done a plum recently, which was
You've done
interesting.
blackberry, raspberry.
Yeah, we've done pear. We've done the John Fleming,
Yeah.
done the World Whiskey Award for the 20-year-old in pear brandy, which was phenomenal, single grain. So the first fruit drops are going to be apple brandy, apricot brandy, and
I think the cherry was next, wasn't it?
yeah, I think
Okay.
cherry or raspberry. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was cherry then. I tell you these guys have heard me say this story, and I'm sure I've actually told Lisa and I have told you this story. The only reason I remember cherry so fondly is because it first released in the Netherlands, and my friend Lisa and I were on the phone, and she was translating enough Dutch that we could order it and have it sent to her house. So our first bottles of the cherry brandy were from the Netherlands.
that's mad. Yeah, they were the first to take it. That's
I've
right.
been known to do that, Shane. I had a business trip in Calgary, and thankfully, one of these guys, Ben Demon Hunter from Canada, alerted me to the website where I could get the Canadian release of the maple the um, the stout release.
Maple
Yeah,
syrup. Yeah, that
so I
was
had it shipped to the hotel that I was going on this business trip, so I could haul it back from Canada.
that was
We've done
such.
a bit. We've done it. We've done a bit to get some two stacks.
That was fair play. That was a crazy release. I remember. I think actually Dave, who's on the call, done
Yeah.
maybe a review of it, and yeah, the big maple bacon nose in that way.
Yes.
We've done a
Yes.
version too, but we're still playing about with it at the bond. We're not happy with, like, sometimes when you just get it perfect with the release, but when you go to, it's hard to sometimes exactly get. And again, that's why we have the batch twos and the batch threes, because there is variations.
Yeah, I've sampled that one out a few times. It's and when I put it in a flight, it wins every time. Every time.
Yeah, the other one that's going to be coming out is a blackberry brandy. So that's one. And there is a
Yes,
pineapple
there was a
brandy.
pineapple brandy
Yeah.
too.
So all of these
right
have
there.
yeah, that was exclusive to the Netherlands. So fair play getting that on yourself.
Yes. I did the computer work and Lisa translated for me on the phone.
Love it. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Ben, I did get it. It wasn't for this occasion, but yeah, I got fed up. The cherry is the cherry is my favorite. The cherry it tastes like cherry Coke. Like
yeah,
there's little cherry Coke Halloween candies that came like the little wax Halloween candy.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Cherry drops.
Lorcan, hey, Slancha to you, Lorcan. Lorcan has a question. Shane, any info on the Pillars of Creation 2025 release?
Yeah, great question. And that'll maybe move us on from, well, we're going to talk a little bit about Polaris, but Pillars and our special releases. I think we're putting a lot of time into making sure that, because the 2024 Pillars was just such a big hit, and it's such a staple of what we want to do in Irish whiskey. The Pillars of Creation is for us one of the most exciting releases that we've put to market, and it really champions the DNA. Of that one was Dingle, Ecklenville, and Cologne. So yeah, the Pillars of Creation 2025, we have it earmarked for, I think, April or June. But Stacey, you guys got to try it when you come over in the bus, the Palo Cortado.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
so good.
So
That was so good.
I don't know if it's gonna be. I know a lot of people were absolutely in love with it. So yeah, there might be a big change to it. Not big, but there might be a fourth element. We're working on something pretty special, but that's coming to market. And yeah, it's actually Buan are going to be in this year's Pillars of Creation. So we're one of the kind of few lucky bonders that have managed to get single pot still aged, some of the oldest single pot still from Buan. So that's going to be in this year's.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, we're going to play.
Wow.
We've already played about with Ecklenville Dingle, but Buan's going to be in the mix, and maybe another very small and well-known distillery. I'll not
I
give.
love Pillars. I love that you can actually taste all three distilleries within that bottle. It's remarkable.
That's the idea. Like it's in the DNA and letting each distillate shine, not overdoing it too much with the cast finish. So yeah, 2025 Pillars of Creation we're very excited about. And again, we've done so many releases. Sometimes he doesn't get enough spotlight and love. I would say that Dave on the call or not in the chat tonight does give a lot of time and effort into dissecting and writing about these releases. So, fair play to him on actually stopping people in their path. I think for us, it's like, okay, Pillars of Creation, Fruit Brandy. And there's just a lot always going on. And it's just because we love putting great whiskies out to market. But I really think the Pillars of Creation was a very, very special one. And one
That
that
was a
people
very one. Yeah.
will look back on in years to come and be like, that was a turning point in Irish whiskey when independent distilleries started to blend their distillates together.
Well, you got one Irish whiskey brand showcasing three distilleries. I mean, that doesn't really happen a
No,
lot. And it was just it was a wonderful bottle. Like I said, I love that even on the nose and the palate, you could pick apart. I mean, you could tell what was Tingle. You could tell what was Ecklenville. You could tell what was Cologne.
yeah,
It blended so seamlessly.
and like the cologne in there really, and that was a 3-year project. Originally, it was to bring the two oldest independent distilleries, which was Dingle and Ecklenville, and piece them together. And we were working with Jarlath, and we weren't quite happy with where it was at. And then, we decided about a year into it, year and a half, let's bring another distillery, and then adding in Cologne, adding the finish with the cream sherry, just everything elevated and enhanced. And we didn't want to put anything to market that didn't blow people away. So we're very happy with that one.
Sean says, if you can say what distilleries are going to be used in the 2025.
No, I can't.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Fair.
I can tell you 3 out of the 4. It'll be Buan Distillery, Ecklenville, and some of Dingle's oldest malt. So yeah, there'll be 3 of them. But there might be a 4th. And the reason I can't say is because we're still signing off the 4th one. So we're hoping that'll be a nice additive that release. But again, it'll be I suppose the whole term around single cast is not technically a single cast, but it is a single cast from each distillery that goes into a 500 liter. And this one is in the Palo Cortado 500 liter.
So do you want to go to the single grain, or you want to skip right to the Polaris?
Do you have the single grain?
I have the one that's finished in a rye cask.
Oh yeah, well the single grain, I think it's a good talking point. I don't even have the bottle.
So I got this actually from Two Stacks in Uri, and let me tell you, I should have bought 2 because this is so flipping good. It's a 12-year single grain and rye cask finish.
Yeah.
So this is one I've already sampled out to some of my bourbon friends.
It's great, and I absolutely adore the single grain category. I think more and more it's getting good attention, and our single grain, that 12-year-old is Cooley single grain. I think the cast strength version of that went into our time well spent boxes. That again was some of the first
Yeah, this is 46. It's still, I mean, 46 is still a good ABV.
Yeah, we dialed it down to 46, and the rye finish is absolutely phenomenal. I think the cast strength version was 63.1%, and that one won a World Whiskey Award at the time of release. So we brought it out in a there you go. Yeah, time
Yeah.
was $20. Yeah, that was a 20-year-old Cooley and a 12-year-old single grain. But the amount of people that preferred the single grain, it was great to. So yeah, the single grain and the single grain that's been launched in a big way in the United States, the double barrel. That is there's Martin.
Hey,
Yeah.
Martin.
Yeah, time well spent. There you go. Yeah, and that was why we brought out the bottle version. People loved it so much, and we're not going to stop people from getting their hands on this good whiskey. But Cooley Green is phenomenal.
I'm kind of on the same page with Darren there. Yeah, it really is. And the fact that you put it in a rye cask, that's right. I freaking love rye. That's just right up my alley.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The single grain, actually, it'll be the first time it enters again the United States, because it's been in the domestic market, but the can and bottle version of our single grain double barrel, which just won the Craft Spirits Awards, that is going to be one of the big whiskies of the year in the United States. So hopefully people will see more and more two-stack single grain in the United States.
Yeah, Amy doesn't have this one, but she says that gives us a good reason to pour the crack, which I still have just a little bit left of that one.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
I've sampled that out to a lot. Oh my gosh. All my bourbon friends freaking love that one. Absolutely love it.
That was Barry's first Stories.
It was. It was the very first release for Stories.
It was our first release in our bonded warehouse as well. So yeah, I remember very, very distinctly that one. It was like, oh, we're still getting all of our license in here, Barry, but yeah, we'll get this. Yeah, but no, single grain, big fan of it, and we the 12-year-old, I think we've went up as far as 21-year-old single grain releases, and we've done red ice wine, we've done per brandy with the carryout group in Ireland, and then the 12-year-olds. There's a little bit of it left, but again, they're so limited, these releases, and yeah, it's kind of like when they're gone, they're gone. I don't know if we will be doing bigger releases of the 12-year-old, but certainly more and more of single grain at a good kind of accessible price point. I'm not sure what that one was for you, Stacey. You got it in the website.
I got it. Yeah, I got it from Two Stacks. I got it when I was there in September, and I'm curious as to the mash bill on this one, because I'm assuming good bit of it's corn. I could taste corn.
Yeah, so I think it's the usual with Cooley and G&D. I think they replicated a lot of the single grain. It's 95% malt and 95.
I think is it 50, 60% corn?
I think it's 95% maize.
Is it 95?
Yeah.
This is why well, that explains why my bourbon friends like this so much. It's corn and it's rye.
This is it, and I think when we started working with the new importers, like they were pushing us a lot towards single grain, and one of the big reasons is because a lot of US consumers are so used to the corn and the sweet whiskey. So they loved our double barrel single grain, and that's one of the main reasons that you're going to see it across the United States, along with the signature blend, the single grain double barrel.
I would agree with that. Yeah. It does go over. Usually, my tastings, it goes over. Single grain goes over well, and it's corn and it's sweet. So.
And it's funny because like when you're kind of a whiskey nerd, sometimes like us, and you're doing all these iterations and pillars of creations and Polaris, you're like, oh well, there's so much more that we can do, but yeah, you got to dial it back sometimes, and you got to just put the spotlight on whiskey that a lot of the people will enjoy. It doesn't have to be the mezcal there as well. That was, I forgot about that one, Dorn. Yeah, that was done for Celtic Whiskey Dublin Whiskey Festival last year. It disappeared within like a week. Wow. That was special. That was very special. I remember 15-year-old single grain, spent about 2 years in mezcal casks, and even when we tried it, we were like, wow, like we didn't expect the real underlying mezcal kind of floral,
Mhm.
herbal, all these beautiful notes that, and single grain is so great to work with when you are pushing the boundaries a wee bit with experimental casts. It just gives you such a beautiful blank canvas profile to let
Mhm.
the cast shine through. So with the rye, a perfect example.
Yeah.
The mezcal as well. Like we tried a lot of tequila finishes, and there's good ones out there, but the 15-year-old single grain mezcal was special. That was a showstopper in my opinion. We were very, very happy with it.
I have not had that one. I am partial to this one because I do get those herbal, minty rye notes
Minty,
on
yeah,
this, but the grain still does come through. I still get that sweet kind of corn from the grain.
yeah. No,
But
it's great, and even the pear brandy, which is more of a soft fruit brandy. Whenever we were working with John at carry out in that one, we
mhm.
decided to take a 21-year-old single cask because we thought it was just the perfect matching distillate fruit brandy. So yeah, no, this single grain is definitely one of our favorites, and I think it's a big staple in Irish whiskey.
Mhm.
You look at a lot of releases across the world, they will have a blend of some sort or an element of single grain in them. And I think more and more, aged single grains at very accessible price points are across the market. So yeah, it definitely should get the love and attention it deserves.
Ben has a question if the cast strength cans will be available in the US or Ireland only. He said they could make the work days better, allegedly.
Originally, it'll be so we're hoping end of February will be the big launch on it, and it'll be website and domestic Ireland, and then likely United States will be early 2026.
There you
So
go, Ben. Ben's in a state where he can get stuff too.
okay, yeah, so you'll be able to post the plans over, and
He's
we'll
not
do.
in a control state like I am.
Yeah, I forget. How do do you have to like? How do you get stuff from Ireland? Do you have to post it to?
I people who are friends and travel to Ireland will get it to me. And people who are friends that live in outside of Ohio, I'll be like, yeah, add me one on there. So I'll get it that way.
Right.
I've
So
had, yeah, Ben's got stuff for me before.
very good.
Ben's not in a control state, so sometimes he can find things cheaper than I can here.
Ah,
So hey, cheers, whiskey nature. Yeah, proxies.
brilliant.
Yeah, there's always a way. There's always a way.
Oh,
And
well,
that's how you end up
Martin is the
on a
king of
phone
that.
with your friend in New York trying to translate Dutch on a Saturday afternoon.
Not to put Martin on the spot, but yeah, he's a great guy at getting whiskies to people. I found,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I'm in an out of control state. Yeah, Ben's in New York.
yeah, easy. That's very easy. Like sometimes we find people get it quicker, in some states than people get it domestically. Like the DHL have it within 2 days, which is impressive. Just like
So James has a question on the cast strength. How much water, if any, should you use?
to like, and not to tell people how to drink their whiskey. I think everyone just has a preferred style, but I personally, especially with apricot, I actually enjoy it with a little ice cube because I find over time it just dials down the ABV every couple of minutes, bit by bit. So a small ice cube or just a couple of drops of water and just keep
Mhm.
adding them couple of drops. But the ice cube will do that for you, I find, and it's quite nice just to kind of look at it open up and you can see the oils dissipate
Yeah.
around. So I enjoy that experience more in a rocks glass. I'll put a nice ice cube and just let the fruit brandy. That's how I do it rather than if I'm not going straight in like we are tonight. I would just add a few drops or a small ice cube because yeah, you'd be surprised after 2 or 3 glasses of the apricot brandy, or you feel it. You definitely feel it, and even when I have it on the rocks, it's yeah, it's so drinkable. It's just it's
It is. That's usually where I start. Is just a couple
you know
drops of water. It really does make that fruit really kind of explode.
yeah, and you're getting up and you're like, how's the bottle down to here? And you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
gotta stop now. I gotta yeah, a couple of drops of water just opens it up more and more, and you even get such a different drinking experience when you start to dial down the ABVs a little bit.
Darius, I just brought a blackberry finish from Corkscrew.
Yeah, good shout. Blackberry's a massive hit, massive favorite.
Yes, that is. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
That's going to be one of the 3 fruit drops that's coming to market. So I'm excited to bring that back to market. Yeah.
So I going to pour next a very special bottle that you had, which was the Polaris 1.1, the 9-year single malt. And I think this was the first red ice wine finished Irish whiskey.
It's funny. It is. That's the OG. We're in a lot of originals here tonight. So that was 1.1.
This is 1.2 and 1.3 are long gone. I still have, I bought multiple 1.1.
Yeah, the 1.1, 1.2 are still some of my favorite Two Stacks releases that I absolutely adore. And it really opened up, I think, I think our world into what red ice wine can do for Irish whiskey. And, when we tried ice wines, and there are, I think Glenfiddich were one of the first to do storm ice wines, and Writer's Tears done.
Yeah, they did. They did it in Enniskillen,
Enniskillen, yeah, that was it. And this red ice wine we just found, in its original, ever been to BC or certain parts of Canada or even Germany, it's got this big kind of summer fruits, strawberries and raspberries, and we just find that the maturation of it is almost an in-between between your kind of PX or Oloroso, or your dessert wine. This is quite a unique profile that we absolutely adore. So the 9-year-old is a 9-year-old double distilled Cooley single malt.
Absolutely beautiful color.
Gorgeous whiskey.
Gorgeous color.
And it's one of them ones, like I mentioned it about the Pillars of Creation, but the 1.1 it's one of them releases that kind of came to market. And not that it was forgotten about. Yes, it all sold out and people adored it and loved it. But I really feel that it's one of them gems that I still see people online talking about how they think 1.1's one of the nicest Two Stacks they've ever had. And that was one of the first red ice wine Irish whiskies that came to market. But not that, we shout about doing things for the first time. I think the main reason that we wanted to do this was because of the flavor profile these casks bring. Yes, Dave is
good intro. I took a screenshot of all of the awards, and that was one of them.
Yeah, 1.2 won the Irish Whiskey Awards, and that was a huge kudos because Middleton just owned that space, and for 10 years they'd won that award. So
single pot, still 11 years and younger.
Yeah, that's the award. Yeah, that was great. Like we were chuffed for that one because we were just so in love with that release, and I think it was, Dave had scored it quite highly in his when he reviewed it. So we were super stoked to see the Irish Whiskey Awards give us that, outside of all of the green and yellow spots and Middleton releases. So I hope it kind of shows people the level that these whiskies play at. And it's just hard to find them is the only thing. Well, maybe Martin has a few.
Martin probably still has a few. I go back and forth between 1.2 and 1.1.
Yeah,
and you get different notes on
massively. Like if you're a malt fan, you're gonna love 1.1, and especially that 9-year-old Cooley. You just get big
so nice.
fruity esters along with the summer fruits. And then with the 1.2, you get the beautiful pot still spice. But the mash bill is quite different on the 1.2 as well. So Great Northern, when they first laid down their single pot still, they were using like 68% unmalted barley. So huge amount of unmalted barley versus the 50-50 that a lot of people now use. Mm-hmm. And then a year or two onwards, they just stopped because the yield was so low. So they now only do 50-50. And that mash bill we just found was perfect with the red ice wine. Polaris, again, that whole series is about, we go into the warehouse and hand pick what we believe is the best cask in our warehouse at that time.
I love the extra steps you do with these as well. It has the Polaris stamp. The
Yeah,
wax seal at the top.
and it leans in on. I know I spoke about the whole two stacks ethos, and not to bore people too much about the branding and the logo, but the logos is abstract, and it is all about looking upwards and outwards. So the third little star, the Polaris, is very much about honing in on that's looking upwards in what we can do and what two stacks do within the space. So anytime you see a Polaris, it's going to be a pretty special single cask. And this year, Polaris will likely come out before Pillars of Creation, and it will be, fingers crossed, but we've kind of signed off on it being a vintage mash bill.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that is going to be something special. That is
yeah.
going to be something special.
Buon released, I think, the first one in December. So we always said to the guys, we've got 5 of them at the warehouse, and we said, you guys release the first one, and hopefully we can follow up. I think you'll see more of them come out this year, but we've tried a couple of them that we're super stoked about. And yeah, we just want to put some of the best of what we have laid down. So it'll be another chapter. So the Polaris itself, we hope, will be 5 different chapters with 3 iterations. So you get 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, which was single malt, single postil, and then blended together.
Yeah. And then you did a Tokai and you did a peated.
Yeah. So chapter 3 will be all about peated. So that was peated red ice wine, 3.1. Chapter 2 was Tokai. Chapter 4 will be vintage mash bills. And then chapter 5 will be something special. But that will be the whole series of Polaris over the next few years. So pretty excited to put a vintage mash bill out.
There's another whiskey channel that I've actually it's going to be one of my guests on my channel here coming up in a few weeks, and I've included this in their blind flight.
Yeah,
so they're going to be very, very excited about it. They're Scotch fans, so I know they're going to love it.
I went into the library and I tried to get the 3.1, but again, no bottles. I don't have any bottles.
Because we cleared you out. You had a whole busload of people that completely cleaned you out.
And then in my head on Friday, because I've just come off the back of a long holiday in Australia, I was like, I'll get some cans and I'll bring cans, and I forgot. But 3.1 is it's special. It's like this 100% Irish peat, and because we love peat, I'm a big fan of 3.1.
James, you get shipping directly from Two Stacks, so I don't want to hear it. Yeah. James is in London, so James can get all
a lot of
stuff.
stores in London get the good stuff. The whiskey exchange has got
James does have some Two Stacks. James has got a very good whiskey collection.
Nice. Yeah.
This is so nice with the red ice wine. It's crazy the amount of fruit you get with this. And I love that you guys produce, and I don't know what made you guys release so much in cask strength, because that was, at the time, that was not a staple of Irish whiskey. That's been one of the perceptions that, you have to fight in the US because they're only familiar with Jameson and Redbreast. That's the 80 proof.
Yeah.
So
right.
Here you go, cask strength. So it has helped your popularity definitely with the bourbon crowd. But what made you decide to release so much of this as cask strength?
Yeah, I think. Well, I keep saying, I think I know exactly why even when we set out with Two Stacks, a lot of it was whiskeys that we love and adore and would drink ourselves, but also, empowering the consumer is a big part of one of the pillars of or staples of what we do in the space and why we do it and what gets us out of bed every morning to make these great whiskeys. So we'd prefer to give cask strength to the consumer and let them dial it back. If they want to dial it to 40%, then so be it. I will say more and more that it is maybe a little trickier to put continuous cask strengths out because the price point does get higher. So that was one of the reasons that we done the Polaris 3.1 for the first time in bottle and can. Yes, it gives you less bottles. I think there's only 180, but at least people still get to try these beautiful cask strength liquids. So I think it was £10 a can, and the bottles were about 80. So the only downside I would say of doing cask strength now more and more is it just makes it a little bit more expensive, and it's why probably 40% has become a market standard. It's probably not the market standard, as you said. The consumer drives demand. So
yeah,
I think even the larger players do see that, and they're moving towards 46% ABVs and trying to push that 86 proof up a little bit more. So for us, the main reason is to give the full flavor and profile and empower the consumer and let them dial it back if they want. And it's too much effort to do, especially with the limited amounts, cast strength and 40%. So
Yeah.
That's the main reason that the majority of our releases will always be, cast strength.
I love that. Me, I'm a stone's throw from Kentucky, so a lot of bourbon drinkers here, and Two Stacks has been an easy sell for me with them because they want the higher ABV, and you guys give it to them,
Yeah.
so makes it very popular.
No, it's great to hear because I suppose sometimes what we love and adore, sometimes other people may not, but a lot of these have been very well received, and for us, we're grateful to see the reception on it. And so for us, it puts a bit, a little bit more pressure on you to continue to release these great whiskies, but it challenges us as well. As the years go on, it just challenges us to make things better and better and better. And as the industry matures as well, there's so much more for us to play around with as well. Like as all the new distilleries have come to maturity, there's a lot of great whiskey each year coming onto the market. So it just opens up the whole space for indie bottling and bonding more and more, and allows us to push the boundaries with releases.
David says you need to bring smoke and mirrors, Shane. Bring back smoke and mirrors.
Cast strength, yes. We've got a couple in the warehouse, actually. We've got a couple of beautiful smoke and mirrors that are full sherry for like 2 years, which are phenomenal. But there's only so many releases we can do each year. You might see it later in the year, but I agree. I absolutely love smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, there's Joe. Joe's one of the bourbon guys. Cast strength is the way to go. Joe actually has an extensive Scotch too, but he's a cast strength guy.
Yeah, no, Joe, you're on the money.
I'm the same, Martin. I don't mind paying a little more for cast strength.
Yeah, like
I would agree with you.
It's great that maybe the customer is more aware that if this was dialed down, if you pay an extra 10 or 20 bucks, at least you get the full flavor profile, and you actually get more whiskey out of it if you're playing about with dialing it back and going through the whole drinking experience. So cast strength is the way all day.
Oh yeah. I rolled into a bourbon on the banks last year, and a whole lot of us whiskey. This was another event. A whole lot of us whiskey tubes channels got together, and we have a kind of an after party where we all bring bottles just to share. And table that was like 12 feet long, full of nothing but really hard to get bottles. So I slapped down the Two Stacks cherry brandy cask, and everybody swarmed on that. Everybody wanted to try it. Yeah. So you had all these really hard to find bourbons, but that was definitely one that got the attention of people there.
Yeah,
it's popular.
That's the piece with the fruit brandy. We really
yes, Joe, Scotch, not bourbon. Yes, he's the Scotch guy. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm a big Scotch fan too. Again, love my Islas. But yeah, no, the Polaris is definitely one that we're going to keep kind of trying to hand select some of the best releases, and bring it out of cast strength. We don't have any ideas about cutting that to 40%. That would be sacrilegious.
So speaking of things that you guys are doing well, outside of Irish whiskey, you have introduced another spirit here that we had to buy, and actually I think it was 9 bottles because our friends got hooked on it as well, and family. So that would be the Two Stacks Double Irish Cream.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this one because this is coming to the US.
Yeah, it is now available. I think some people in Boston and Minnesota. I think I seen MP last week post about getting his hands on it finally. So that is coming to the United States in a big way, and even to Ohio, I believe.
Yes, I was very, very excited because we gave up one for my mother-in-law for her birthday. And I was very excited to say, okay, I can replace it now. Yeah. And I've actually, that was the first thing I was talking to one of the ladies that's the director with the state of Ohio liquor control. And I said, you need to try this. It's the best Irish cream ever. I'm sorry. It's just the best. Look at that. Look how it coats the glass.
It's
So
it's a perfect. I think after whiskey tastings, like we've now tended to end with the Irish cream. It's just this beautiful, elegant, decadent liquid that especially after a lot of cast strengths, it's and coming off the back of Christmas season. But the interesting side we've seen as well, Stacey, is this sells year round. It's not like a seasonal thing in any way. It did go a bit crazy for us in December, November. Like we had local retailers selling out constantly, and it's like, whoa,
I
this thing's went crazy.
it's a great gift. The packaging is gorgeous.
Thanks. Yeah,
This
yeah.
beautiful black bottle with the beautiful gold and white. I mean, it's a gorgeous bottle. I know I can tell you, sorry, honey, to my husband, half a bottle went out the door with me making 6 dozen Irish cream shortbread cookies because some of it went in the cookies and some of it definitely went to the chef. So I went through half a bottle just that night.
That's yeah. I'm
But yeah,
never
it is a great
surprised.
gift. But
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I tend to the bottle gets empty most time it's open. I don't bring too much of it back home because at the weekends, once it's popped and it goes in a glass, it goes in with fresh ice cream, and it's just like, this is too easy, way too easy. And then we did release it in early January in the can version.
yes.
That we are trying to get this to the United States, but we do have a lot going over there, so we're going in. We don't want to throw too much at the market all at once. Oh yeah,
David, the Irish cream slushy is the freaking cast pajamas. Oh my God, it's so good.
and
It's
that's
so good.
literally this with cologne. If you can get your hands on a Gloria cologne,
Yeah.
just 50-50.
This.
I was looking over. I was like, "Do I have a bottle?" It's in the cupboard somewhere. Yeah,
Yep.
beautiful. That is,
Coffee
and
liqueur.
yeah, and we just at the trade festivals we've started just putting them together in the big slushy machines, and there's it's funny because you see queues for the slushy machine. You're like, we are a whiskey company, but
Uh, a friend of mine here in Columbus who was on the bus, his wife got him a slushy machine for Christmas after
well,
after visiting and having those. Yeah.
we done the Ninja
Yeah.
slushy giveaway this year.
That's what she got him. She got him the Ninja slushy machine for
Well,
Christmas.
one thing I will say, if you are speaking to her on something we've learned, because we have the bigger industrial ones that we
Mhm.
bring to the trade shows, the Ninja slushy, if you're to do this in Gloria and put it in and hit slushy or
Mhm.
frozen cocktail, I think they have different namings in the UK and the USA. It won't actually freeze. Reason being, I don't know the technicals, but it can't be over 16% ABV. So what they need to do is put a nice whack of cold brew coffee in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I'll let them know. Brian, if you're watching, if you're not, I'll tell you to watch the replay.
yeah, and we were sitting for like an hour and a half, and we had like some people coming in. We're like, why isn't this freezing? What's? And then we watched a couple because the new Ninja slushies are new to market as well. They're
Yeah,
brand new.
they are. Yeah.
So I watched a couple of YouTube videos and I'm like, but I was like, how are they doing frozen Negronis? Like that's such a, yeah. And their Instagram but the reason is they throw a ton of water in at the start or a
Yeah. So they're
ton
diluting it to get it to.
of fruit juice. But yeah, if you're just going, and that's how we would do it. If they were doing it at home, if they're wondering why they're not getting that frozen Irish coffee style experience, I just tell them to throw in a good whack of cold brew coffee. I'd literally done it at Christmas for the family. I brought the Ninja home, and yeah, it took a long time to work it out because we hadn't cracked it. But I started off with a nice big jug of cold brew. So cold brew also works perfectly. I prefer to put the alcohol hit of a coffee liqueur, but cold brew and the Irish cream are that coffee hit just so the cream is perfect. And if you look at the back of these bottles, Stacey, it's coming
Yep.
back to the blender's cut, the signature blend.
Yep.
So it all ties in nicely, and
And
Right.
that's one of the things that people can't, when I pointed out to them, I said, yeah, it's 2% peated.
Yeah, there's peated distillate
Yeah.
in there, and there's
And you
fat.
would never know it.
No, it's. I think it's a big reason why it's a whiskey forward cream, and we do use 8%. So compared to the market standard, I think is 1% Irish whiskey. So we pushed the maximum amount that we were allowed to use, which is 8%. So you get a big, beautiful whiskey forward cream. But the blender's cut again. We're putting that big oily whiskey or meaty whiskey, as we said, into a cream, and that's a USP. You know, even if people were to try and replicate it, you have to replicate the blend as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I will be having a full review of this coming out, guys. I actually did find my reviews, I always try to compare something to something else so they could kind of get an idea what it is. And I found in the basement we still have half a bottle of Bailey's.
right, wow.
And I'll give you a spoiler alert. I tried it after this. It was not great.
No, and
Tastes chemically.
that's the win for us all day. We just basically
So,
set it down. We say, you tell us, you know, you try it, and
yeah.
people are blown away by it. And even the cans, where we'll encourage people, you know, you don't want the bottle sitting open. And you know, a can's perfect, but what I will say is when the bottle's open, it tends to get finished anyway.
Yeah,
But
I was just gonna say how do they keep a bottle open? Because
yeah,
we've gone through 3 of the 6. They don't last. No, it's phenomenal. It
I
is
do.
it's
I do
by
remember
far the best Irish cream I've ever had.
seeing that. I think it was like a week after you guys had left from the whiskey bus, and you had
Hmm.
bought some. And then I think I seen an email, and it was like, "Can I have 9 more bottles?" And I'm like, "What? Didn't she just hello?" And she was in Ireland. And
I got yelled at for not getting enough. I was there. I'm like, I couldn't carry it all from the bus back into the hotel room.
oh, brilliant! Yeah, no, the cream is such a perfect, and yeah, great way to kind of finish off a lot of
And we
our.
came home and we've given it to friends and family, and now they're completely hooked on it, and they're really excited for when it's going to come to Ohio because we've got all these people who are hooked on it, and
Well,
just are
I'll
it's going to
be
be a staple. I'm telling you, in a lot of bars and a lot of homes in Ohio.
I'll probably be emailing or keeping an eye out for your post to see when it does come available in
Oh,
Ohio.
I've actually so I've already spoken with with the bar manager at my local Irish Heritage Club, and I've already given him a tip, and it'll be here soon. So he's already reached out to the distributor to make sure he has a bottle on the shelf.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think February. So I'm looking forward to seeing it get into Ohio this will be our first release actually into Ohio. So that'll be exciting. It's just because it's
We're
lower.
very excited to have you. I won't have to go to Party Source on the other side of the state line in Kentucky to get stuff now. Because
Yeah.
normally that's it, where it's like road trip down to Kentucky.
How far is that? I know a lot of people go
It's
there.
not from me. I'm located in Central Ohio. It's only about an hour and a half.
Okay.
It's just on the other side of Cincinnati.
Okay. So that's the kind of middle of the ground, the gray market.
Yeah. That's typically the store that we asked to stock things that we couldn't get in Ohio, and now Ohio is becoming a lot more welcoming for Irish whiskey, which
That's
I'm thoroughly excited about.
yeah. Well, I would say that you've been a big part of that too in the selection.
I try. There's a lot of bourbon drinkers here, so I'm trying one at a time to get them to and like I said, Two Stacks is one that I continually get them to buy, and I'm excited about that.
No, it's great, and like this year, I'm hoping there'll be a lot more availability of it with the new Foley partnership and going in with the bigger distributor. I think we're already active in like 17 or 18 states, so it's only really coming to market now, January, February. So great timing, even with this tasting coming into February, March, and Patrick's Day. Fingers crossed, people will see more and more of it across the United States.
So what states will you be in? That's actually a good question. Do you know off the top of your head, or at least name some so everybody can
Yeah,
definitely
that's a
watch
good
for?
question. And you know, there's a guy, Andrew Healy, that people might have seen on Two Stacks Nation. He actually
Yes.
just sent it to me on Friday. So yeah, I've got a list. I've got California, North and South, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Massachusetts. I've only got like the symbol. So I'm trying to, it's testing my knowledge of what DE, not sure what DE is.
D, just D or DE or DC?
DE.
DE is Delaware.
Delaware. There you go. IN is that
Indiana.
Indiana?
So
Yeah.
the
And
snug will have it, I'm sure.
yeah. Oh, yes. Brilliant. Yeah. New Jersey, Nevada, NE. Not
And
sure.
E, that's Nevada, isn't it? I think is that Nevada or Nebraska? I think, yeah, in Nebraska or Nevada?
NV is, I think, Nevada, New York.
Yeah, NE might be Nebraska.
Okay. Is that
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma? Awesome. All right. Yeah. Tennessee, TN,
Yeah.
TX, and WA.
Texas.
Yeah. And WA is West. Is that Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. So that's
Wisconsin will love the Irish cream. I'm gonna have to let everybody I know in Wisconsin. I actually know a friend who has a bar up there, so we'll have to get a hold of him.
So yeah, that's the list. That's the fresh list that I have, but that's very much fresh off the Foley line. They've just got the first containers in December, so that's all trickled out. But amazing for us to see it in so many states so quickly.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, everybody's looking for St. Louis, Missouri. Arizona doesn't get it anymore. Anthony at Bourbon Neophyte is very excited that Nevada is going to be getting
Nevada's going to get it in a big way. Like Foley have a huge presence in Nevada with their wine and
there you go, Anthony. California. Anthony, you and I will have to do a stream when it hits Nevada. We'll have to do a 2-stack stream together.
Yeah.
No Georgia, Joe, but it sounds like it's going to be in Florida and Tennessee, depending on what part of Georgia you're in.
These are only the starting states, guys. So I'm hoping it will be continue to go out to more and more. I've even heard Oregon and Ohio and other states. Yeah. So like all of it's being pushed out. So by the end of this year, we're hoping about 25, 30 states. So that's the first run of states that have managed to get some.
Sorry, I think it's already in New York, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in New York.
Yeah, Ben, it's already in New York. Yes, Texas. Texas is getting some of the cast strength Irish whiskey.
The New York
and the Irish cream and all of this good stuff.
Yeah, Texas, New York.
The Miracle Martinez, you'll have to look for it on your shelves.
And actually, just on that note, some of the team are going over in March, so you might see them pop up in some of the states. I know that Andrew Healy's going to be doing Chicago, but Donald, Annie, Liam, I think, are going to be doing a couple of different cities at the end of February, start of March. So keep an eye on 2 Stacks Nation. You'll probably see the guys.
Oh, I hope so. I'd love to see you guys in Ohio.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're just nailing down the cities at the minute, and going to do a week or two over there to spread the good word of Irish whiskey.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for your time today. I really, truly appreciate it. I know there's a whole lot of 2 Stacks fans in the U.S., and they're very excited to hear more from you and hear that 2 Stacks is going to be available in a lot more places.
Yeah, no, thank you, Stacey, and thanks everyone for coming on. I know it's late on Sunday night. I will raise a glass and say a big sláinte to everyone, and hopefully I'll see a lot of faces over the year at trade festivals, or don't be afraid to drop in the 2 Stacks if anyone's visiting Ireland this year, or shoot us an email. You're always welcome. The doors are always open, and we love seeing whiskey fans, especially from the United States and all around the world, coming and spending some time with us and enjoying a dram together. So cheers, guys.
And if you guys are on Facebook, check out 2 Stacks Nation. It is our kind of friends group, and you'll learn a lot about 2 Stacks whiskey and where it's available. It is almost 7:30. Make sure you guys jump over to Anthony at Bourbon Neophyte. He's going live at 7:30. I will see you all next week here. I am sending a blind flight to Marty with Whiskey Nose, and there might be some 2 Stacks in there. Maybe not, Marty. But I will see you all next week. Sláinte. Have a good night.